All right, finding slope and y-intercept from standard form. So our goals for today, I can identify the standard form of a linear equation. I can find the x-intercept and y-intercept from a standard form equation. And I can identify the slope from a standard form equation. So what is standard form? Well, standard form is if your equation looks like this, when we have ax plus by equals c, where a is going to be a, forgot, sorry, where a is going to be a number, b is going to be a number, and c is going to be a number. Okay, so that's how we can write a linear equation in standard form. Ax plus by equals c. And we can use this form to identify the intercepts and the slope. First, let's take a look at how do I identify the slope. Okay, the slope, we have a simple formula for us. It is m equals, the slope equals negative a divided by b. Okay, so if you can recall, standard form is ax plus by equals c. Okay, so in this first problem here, the a is, the 3 is in the a position. And what's in the b position? Well, that would be the 4. Okay, so we're just going to use this formula. We're going to put a negative sign down. And we're going to do a, which is 3, divided by 4. If you can simplify it, simplify it. In this case, we can't. So our slope is simply negative 3/4. Okay, let's do that again with our second example. Okay, what is in our a position? Looks like the 2 is in our a position. And in our b position is a 5, but we bring this sign with it. So it's actually going to be a negative 5. Okay, so let's just put it in our formula. So negative sign in front. A is 2. B is negative 5. So we have a negative 2 over negative 5. If we have two negatives, they basically just cancel each other out, and we're left with a positive 2/5 for our slope. All right, let's look at our third example here. Our A position has a 6. Our B position has a negative 2. Let's throw it in the formula. So negative a 6 over b, which is a negative 2. Remember, you take the sign with it. So we have basically a negative 6 over a negative 2, which would turn into a positive 6 over positive 2, which can be simplified to 3. So our slope here would be 3. So that's how you find the slope of a linear equation when it's written in standard form. Now, what about the intercepts? Well, to use the intercepts, I like to use something that we call the cover-up method. Okay, so basically what I do is I just kind of ignore one of the variables at first. So let's look at our first equation. We got 3x plus 4y equals 12. So basically, I'm going to just kind of ignore this one at first and just write 3x equals 12, and we're going to solve that. So divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 4. And that is my x-intercept right there. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Let's uncover this now. Let's say we want to find the y-intercept. Well, you're just going to cover up the 3x, and I'm going to write down what's left, which is 4y equals 12. And I solve that equation. Divide both sides by 4, and we get y equals 3. So y would be my y equals 3 would be my y-intercept. So I can figure out where both of those are simply by doing the cover-up method. Okay, let's uncover that again so you can see what the original problem looked like. All right, let's do it again. Let's go ahead and cover up the y. We're going to cover that up, and I'm left with 2x equals 10. Divide both sides by 2, and x equals 5 is my x-intercept. Okay, and then let's go back. Now let's cover up the 2x. And we're left with negative 5y equals 10. Divide both sides by negative 5. And we get y equals negative 2 for your y-intercept. Okay? So let's do the whole thing together now, where we have to find the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and the slope. Let's do all of it together on these. So first off, let's find the x-intercept. So we're going to cover up the 2y, and we get 6x equals 8, which means divide by 6, x equals 8/6, which is the same as 4/3. So that one, my x-intercept isn't in a very convenient place, but it crosses at 4/3 or 1.333. Okay, that's fine. So let's go back up here and let's cover up our x and figure out where the y-intercept is. We're going to take negative 2y equals 8, divide both sides by negative 2, and y equals negative 4. Okay, now what is the slope? Let's see, let's come back up and uncover this. So our slope, remember the formula is negative, I don't even know if you can see that yellow. Let's change colors. Maybe the golden color. It's negative a over b. So in the a position was the 6, so we're going to do negative 6 over, and the b position was negative 2. So that turns into a 6/2, which is a slope of 3. So for this equation, I have an x-intercept of 4/3, a y-intercept of negative 4, and a slope of 3. All right, let's try the same thing now down here on this equation. Let's cover up the 3y. And we got 4x equals 24. Divide both sides by 4. And you get x equals 6 for your x-intercept. All right. Uncover the y. And we're going to cover up the x. That works. And we get 3y equals 24. So divide both sides by 3, and we get y equals 8 for your y-intercept. And then for the slope, we're going to do negative a, which is 4, over b, which is 3. And that cannot be simplified. So it's just going to be negative 4/3 for my slope. Okay? So that's how you find the slope and your x and y intercepts when you have an equation in standard form. So to review, I can identify the standard form of a linear equation. I can find the x-intercept and y-intercept from a standard form equation. And I can identify the slope from a standard form equation. If you have any questions, please reach out.